Boo.
You can use another one. You have 3 of them, I think. Just remember that you can use your hit dice for your short rests, but then you don't get any of those back until you do your long rest.
Ah, nice. It's got that macro built in.
All right, so you can add that back to your hit points, and then you travel on down the road, and you do get to Beaconsdale. You do not see any sign of the remaining guards or the bandits. All right. On to Beaconsdale. I didn't move the map in for that yet. Did I? Nope. Okay, I gotta add that. There we go. Create a new page. All right. I just created a map, a quick map for this, although nothing's ever quick for me. But let me grab it. That one. Oh, might be too large. Uh-oh. All right, what about this one? I guess good enough. We'll move you guys over. There you go. Yep. And put your tokens over. All right. Let's just make this a little bigger for now. So you guys will be coming in from the south road here. And you get to Beaconsdale. Beaconsdale is actually off the road a little bit, so the trail you'd been following is down here in the white area that I'm pinging. And then there's like a branch of the road that leads up to this branch here, and then you get this small village. And this is Beaconsdale. And what you see basically is, I had a different map set up, but we'll just make this one work. It's basically sets of farms as you kind of come up. And also on the way up, you saw different ranches. Like a lot of this area has fencing for cattle grazing areas. So this is obviously, this village kind of has a lot of ranchers around it. So out in the different fields, they might be fenced off and you might see grazing cattle or different types of herd type animals out in them. And then this is the main area where, you know, they come in and do some trading, or some of the workers might live, some of the farmers that do feeding as far as farming the fields and that kind of thing, as you guys come walking in. Some of the other bigger buildings, you can tell one of them is an inn, so we'll just go ahead and make we'll make this set right here. I'll draw a quick line. Sure. We'll say this right here, a group of buildings is the inn. So it's the inn, the stables, and that kind of thing. And the rest look like farms and just other little buildings, but as you come walking up. And it seems like normal life. Normal people are in fields, tending fields. You might see ranchers out on horses, rounding up different herd animals. You might see kids playing around in between houses here and there. It looks like a very normal life, a very normal day is happening here in the town of Beaconsdale as you come up the road.
I'm sure some local could direct us. to Theoden.
Yeah, let me get this map ready. There we go. Yeah, so you see somebody as you're walking up, and they mentioned that Theoden's home is up on the corner. So I'll put a green bar around it. So this is Theoden's house with the green. Is where it directs you to.
All right. We thank him politely.
Yep. All right.
And mosey up the road.
Okay. Yep. You go up to Theoden's, and it's you see it has a little sign on the outside of his house, has the picture of mortar and pestle, and then it also has the picture of a horse. And then you can see, as you are looking at that, and the rest is just a pretty normal town.
Knock on the door. It's the shop.
Yep, you hear a voice from inside, just says, "Come in."
I will enter.
Yep, as you guys enter, you see a half elf who has some similarities to Alina Doran a little bit, but also you can tell he's a half elf and pretty tall. And he's at a table, working at a table, and he's kind of mixing, looks like a poultice of some sort, and you can see lots of different herbs, and this is clearly an apothecary's house. And it also looks like he might tend animals. He's got a few stray animals in here that he's either bandaged up or he's keeping track of. So you can kind of tell he's like the apothecary / veterinarian of the town. And he sees you as you walk in, and he just kind of continues making a poultice that he's working on at his table, and kind of gives you a quizzical look. He's not sure. You can get a lot of adventurers here in a village. And he's like, can I help you, gentlemen?
I'd say, Master Theoden, I am Finn, and this is my companion, Kafe Black. We have brought greetings from your mother, and would like to offer our aid in any manner we can.
He says, "Oh, I knew if I said anything, she would worry. I'm sorry that she would have sent you here. I'm sure it's something we can handle on our own, but please come in and take a seat. And can I offer you some water or anything to eat? I'm sure you've traveled quite a ways."
Absolutely. And think nothing of the task. Your mother actually asked us to investigate anything strange happening on the route between Waterdeep and Daggersford.
Okay, yeah, so you see him, he goes and washes his hands, and then he gets out a couple of earthen mugs, and he gets some fresh water that he has in a jug, and he pours it, and he brings you over some water. And he grabs some slices of cheese on a plate and puts it next to you guys. There's like a little kitchen table with a couple of chairs, and it's a pretty small house that he has. It's obviously he's got a room where he can do his work, but you can also see, where his bed slat is, and it's pretty rustic. And he hands over that, and he's like, "Well, yeah, let me just finish this up here a second, and if you don't mind, I'm going to keep going, but I'm not sure. How can I help you?" And he just kind of continues with the poultice.
You tell us of the missing animals.
He says, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So I mentioned I guess in the letter, she must have told you about the letters." He says, and he says, "Yeah, normally in this village, if anybody has an animal that's hurt or something, they bring it here, and I typically tend to them. So I've been hearing from a few of the ranchers in the area that they were missing some of their cattle, And they thought, we thought maybe it'd be wolves or maybe something from the woods. There's a woods to the north of town from where we're at. And for you guys, north is the up. So you would have seen a line of woods that are just outside of town on the north side. And so we went out and they looked, and we didn't find any. And this happened probably about a month ago. They're reporting some of them, and then even some of the pigs here in town went missing out of the pens, and nobody could figure out where they had went. So we thought, something was out there, wolves or something. And then just this last week, we found a cattle that had been attacked, a cow that had been attacked out in the field. They brought me out to take a look at it, and it seemed like it had some odd wounds on it. It had about 6-inch wide ring around both of its legs where the skin and the fur had been ripped off as if something had grabbed it, but it must have gotten away somehow and had left these marks. And they weren't like teeth marks or bite marks from like wolves or bears or anything that we would normally think of. It's like nothing I've really ever seen that would have attacked an animal. And so I started asking around, and other ranchers have seen some of these types of injuries. They didn't necessarily bring it to my attention. Some of those, either they were the cattle were dead and they just put them out of their misery, and they didn't even think to mention it. But it sounds like it's happened to a few other cattle in the area also.
Any localization in the areas? Like, is it all to one direction, or is it farms all around?
It seems like it's just several of the ranches around, and he kind of thinks about it a moment, and he thinks, maybe mostly the north side of town stuff, but there was even a ranch further, about 2 miles west of here, and they also have been reported animals missing too, so I don't know if that will help you.
Do you have no woodsmen in the village that have reported anything out of the ordinary?
No, almost everybody here in this village is either a farmer or rancher. We have me and the blacksmith. We have the innkeeper, and that's pretty much it. The village is pretty much here because of the ranchers. The biggest thing around here is all the ranchers. And they take their cattle twice a year. They drive them up to Waterdeep and auction them off. And then the farms that are around here just support the feeding of the cattle. The blacksmith is here because of the different needs for the wranglers' horses and some of the stuff for the ranchers that are here. And that's pretty much it. So we don't really have a lot of other... Everything is pretty much built around the ranches that are here. But I haven't heard... Nobody's said anything else to me other than... people would just normally talk to me about the animals, so I don't hear a lot of other gossip. And he continues. He's making a poultice, and it's just a mixing thing, and he's putting it in he's like wrapping it in a package, like he's going to be delivering it to somebody.
What time did we arrive in the village?
I would say mid-afternoon. You probably have a couple hours of daylight still.
Well, should we continue to interrogate him? It doesn't sound like he knows much. Or should we wander the village?
I say we wander the village and maybe go to the tavern, ask around, and then set up to maybe rent a room for the night.
All right. Well, the tavern's right across the street, right?
Yeah. Oh, I think my mark moved, didn't it? Let me grab that. Oh, dang it. I want to do that. sometimes. Yes, this. All right. Yeah, it is the one right across the street. It's kind of like a collection of buildings. So the inn is the biggest building. They have a barn building, which is where people can put their horses and stuff. And then they have a few other secondary buildings that they use with the inn and the tavern and the cooking and a warehouse and that kind of thing. God damn.
Wait, you can erase that, damn it. We know where we're going.
There, I'm going to put that as the map layer. All right.
Oh,
Did you draw that with a graphics pen?
Yeah.
I was like, that's got to be a graphics pen. It's too like cool for being a mouse.
All right. Yeah, so it's this back building here that is the front of the inn there. So that's where you would go for that.
Well, if Theoden can add no more to the conversation, I would again propose that this is something that the Emerald Enclave could learn more about. Sounds suspicious. Let's go to the tavern.
Sounds good.
All right, and yeah, it's still midday. A lot of people are still out working in the fields, or the ranchers are still doing stuff. You don't see too many people in here. You do see a barkeep, and she is a human, and she is wiping the bar down. Obviously, the owner of the establishment.
Can I persuade her a little bit to talk with us? Give us some information?
Yeah. As you guys walk in, you can see the look in her eyes is customers. So she gets a couple of mugs out and she's like, can I get you a drink?
Yeah, something non-alcoholic. I guess I don't think he's a drinker.
Oh, all right.
You know what? Maybe he is. I take it back. He'll have a mead.
All right. She pours you a mead.
It's made of honey.
It's got to be good then.
Yeah.
And for your elven friend, she has a questioning look like, do you want something to drink too?
Do you have any elvish spirits? And he names off some like wines that he knows probably are only in Evermet.
Yeah, she doesn't have many of the. She has something. She's like, you know what? I think I have something. Let me grab one thing that I think you would like, and it's something from some of the wood elves near here that she would have gotten, and she pours you a glass of that. That's like a wine.
Thank you.
And she says, "Wow, we don't get a lot of adventuring types in this area. What brings you here to Beckinsdale?"
We've come to look into some of the lost animals in the area and the odd markings on the remains that have been found.
She says, "Oh yeah, some of the ranchers have been coming in and complaining. They've been losing cattle, but it's one of those things where you always think they're always losing something. They're always complaining about something taking their cattle or making it tougher for them to drive them to Waterdeep. But something's definitely been going on. A lot more of them have been." Saying they were missing a cow here or there.
But recently one in town.
And then, yeah, she says, old lady Ventry said she's missing a pig. One of her pigs has gone missing from her pen. Now, I don't know if it's the local kids playing around or if something actually got into her pen, but all the other pigs were there.
Can she give us directions to Ventry?
Yeah, she says, when you go back out on the road there, you just follow the road right to the last house that you come up to, and there's a little pen around. You'll see the pigs in the pen. She's the only one that has pigs in town. So, yeah, she gives you directions that you'll be able to find it.
Okay.
And yeah, other than that, you see some teenagers that look like they're cleaning up stuff. One of them looks like he might be fixing a stool. One's sweeping, and no other real patrons in here yet. And you're probably still about an hour before dinner time.
Well, we could rest again, or we could wander. What do you want to do?
Did you say it's an hour before dinner?
Yeah, it's about an hour before dinner happens, dinner time.
Let's check out maybe ask the smithy, and then we'll be back for dinner.
Okay. And I mean, this is a small place. We could probably walk around and hit every one of these.
Yeah, that's true. We
Talk to
see.
the pig farmer. I'd like to know if they found any. I mean, nobody's found any tracks. That's what's surprising in a muddy pig field. So, all right, blacksmith first.
No, that's actually better. Pig farmer. The person who's missing the piggy.
Yeah, yep, you guys are at the right spot. So yeah, you see just a typical cottage. There are pigs out in the pen. You can see it's a wooden fenced-in pen. She even has some chickens, a couple of pigs, and the fence does not look damaged in any way. And it seems to be about a 4-foot high, almost maybe 5-foot high fence, wooden fence.
Can knock on the door, see if anyone's home.
Yep. You hear a noise from inside. Older lady comes to the door, and she says, "Yes, can I help you?" And she seems kind of guarded. That's you guys are pretty imposing.
Well, I will use my persuasion to ease her tension.
Oh, all right. Let's see a roll.
Whoa!
Oh, yeah, she warms right up to you.
She eased out of something else.
Quite impressed.
Can I bake you a cake, young man?
Yeah, she's like offering you dinner, has you sit down at the table, offers you something to drink.
We'll go in there and sit down at her table. I'll be just that young.
Totally ignores Coffee
Nice guy.
Black like he's not there.
Coffee's so used to this.
And she's like, well, how can I help such fine adventurers as yourself?
Say, Madam, we are actually seeking to aid you. We've heard of a lost pig with under suspicious circumstances, and if you wouldn't mind, we'd like to ask you questions about it and maybe examine the pig sty.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, they took Corwin, all right, and you can tell that's the name of the pig. I don't know how they did it. They didn't break the fence. I didn't hear anything, but I woke up and Corwin was gone, and I went around and I checked with all the kids in town, and I kind of wrangled them all up, and none of them admitted to it. So I don't know what's going on. Something took Corwin.
No tracks, no blood, nothing outside of the pen.
She didn't see anything, but you don't get the impression that she would have looked or been able to recognize.
She needs glasses.
Stuff. Yeah, she's an older lady.
All right. Well, before it gets too dark, can we go out and look?
She says, yeah, sure. And she says, but, make sure you're back before dark. You definitely don't want to be out in them woods after dark.
Why's that?
Well, there's all kinds of nastiness out in those woods. People talk about it in town all the time. Boogeymen here and there. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what took Corwin.
But the boogeyman would leave tracks.
Well, she looks at you. I'm not sure about that, but you're the expert, so sure. I'm sure they would leave tracks then.
Lest it was a ghost.
Well, perhaps you could show us the way to the pen.
Yeah, she has a back door or a side door that goes to the pen, and you can see the area. And you can you both can make a survival check as you or maybe investigation. Let's do investigation check as you look around the fence area and the pen. All right, Coffee.
Sure.
Yeah, you pick up. You think? You're not typically a tracker, right? So this isn't normally a thing, but you think you can see where something must have come to the corner of the fence, and they left tracks because they must have lifted the pig out of the area, and they left tracks there. But you don't see necessarily where they lead off to. But you can tell that something must have come up to the pen and grabbed it. It definitely looks like, feet. It's bipedal of some sort.
I show Finn. I say, "Here are those tracks you were looking for." I can't tell anything else.
How big are the feet?
They are right near the size of yours. They don't look. You can actually see toe prints, and it seems like 4. It does. So they must not be wearing. No, it's not like a paw. It's not. You can tell it's not a paw mark. It's a foot mark. It's a foot mark of somebody that doesn't wear boots, and their toes are definitely different. It's not a human. It's not an elf, a dwarf, but it is bipedal. It's about as much as you can get from the track.
Oh.
And while you're looking at that, a 10-year-old comes kind of trotting by, and he's kind of eyeballing you guys as you're looking at the tracks, and he kind of comes over to the fence and is, he's like trying not to look at you, but trying to watch you out of the corner of his eye, so you don't see him looking at you, and he's doing that fidgety 10-year-old kid kind of thing, where he's super interested and he wants to know everything you guys are doing and everything about you, but he doesn't want to get yelled at or anything like that.
I'll turn to him and smile at him and give a little bow and say, "Approach, young one."
All right, give me a persuasion. Let's see how well you can talk to the child. Yeah, 14's pretty good.
That's pretty good for me, considering.
Yeah. So all the other ones so far. Yeah. So yeah, he kind of comes over and he's like he's looking at your armor, and he's looking at your swords, and he's really interested, and he keeps looking at the Green Knight also, sword and shield, and he's a 10-year-old who's super interested in adventure stuff, and he's like, "How come you're over here at Old Lady Ventry's?"
"She's recently lost a pig, and we're trying to find out what happened."
He says, "Yeah, she came over and grabbed me by the ear because she thought I was the one that let him out. But I told her I didn't let him out. I wasn't out here."
Do you have any idea what could have happened?
He says, "I bet it's the boogeymen are taking the pigs."
Are these boogeymen from the woods?
And he kind of walks over to the tracks. He's like, "Yeah, look, there's even these tracks here. I see these all over the woods all the time." And he says, "Everybody, he says everybody talks about them. They have really big eyes and a really big mouth, and it's shadowy, but they only come out at night, so you only ever see them at night. And that's why Mom always tells us not to be out in the woods at night."
Interesting.
Most of the adults don't believe us kids, though, but we've seen them. We've seen them out there.
Could you tell us about where in the woods? Like just inside or further deeper into the woods?
Yeah, he gives you this kind of look of, I don't want to get in trouble. My mom said I'm not allowed to go out to the woods anymore. And he's kind of struggling with it inside, in his head. He's thinking, well, all right, I can tell you, but you can't tell my mom. Yeah, you can't tell my mom, or she'll get mad.
Indeed, your secret is safe with us.
So, he takes you guys. You kind of go out through north of town. You kind of go along the road. You get out towards the ranches, and it's just more fields where a lot of the ranches are, and it is into the woods. And he brings you out kind of just maybe 100 yards into the woods, and he's like, "This is where we always come out and play our games and everything, and we found tracks just like you found, and every now and then we've seen them boogeymen, and they're big, and they've got really big eyes and really big mouth, but we always run, and then none of the adults believe us that they're out here."
So where he leads us, do we see any of those tracks, or is it, and how deep is it?
You're not really seeing any of them. It obviously looks like a clearing where kids come out to play. You can see little half-built forts and sticks are all over the place, and they obviously come out here quite often. But you're not seeing anything. Not being, if you guys had a ranger or a druid or somebody with you that actually had, tracking. Is any of you have the skill for survival?
No.
Yeah, so you're not really picking anything up.
All right. Well, I thank him and tell him run home before dinner.
Yeah, so he heads off home, and he kind of gets halfway away from you guys, waves back, and then continues heading home.
What do you think, Finn?
Nice lad. Well, I'd be all for charging into those woods right now, but we are both still wounded.
Yeah,
perhaps we should retire for a bit.
I think so. And that meal is waiting for us back at the tavern.
To the inn.
All right, yeah, you get back to the inn, and it started to pick up. You can see some ranchers are there now. You can see some local farmers are there. Obviously, some local drunks have shown up. People are starting to get some food. You guys pick a table, and you have some food brought over to you and some drinks. And it all probably cost you a total of maybe 2 silver total.
Should buy some rounds for the people.
Oh yeah, everybody's great about that. Everybody likes that. So you get the big cheer, the old tavern cheer, when everybody says rounds are on us, and everybody's having a good time. And maybe it's another, I don't know, 5 silver pay for everybody's rounds.
When the evening gets cooking along there and everyone's having a good time, can I stand up on a barrel and try to get everybody's attention?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, you bought them around; they'd all listen to you, and go ahead.
All right, I'll say, my friends, we have actually been sent here on a mission to look for the lost animals and find the cause of your ills.
Yeah, and the ranchers cheer you, and they're like, finally, somebody's taking, going to get whatever's stealing our animals. That's money. That's money out of our mouths and how we feed our families. And they kind of cheer you.
Can anyone point us, give us an idea of what has been happening? We've asked several people in town, but we want to hear it from you, people directly affected.
Yeah, some of the people, some people yell out, it's got to be the wolves. A couple probably yell out, it's got to be some creature out there in those woods. There's something out there taking it. And then some of them are just like, we don't know what. We went out there, we've looked, we've even taken a hunting party out there, and we didn't find anything. You guys don't know what you're talking about. And they get in a little argument about that maybe it's just ranchers stealing from the ranch bosses, or the people that actually own the land, or but you don't get a consensus of anybody knows what's taking the animals.
What of this boogeyman that you avoid the woods from at night?
And several of them kind of laugh, and they're like, "Oh, that's just the children. That's stories we tell those children to make sure they don't go too far into the woods. They're not seeing anything out there." And then some of them are a little bit more cautious, like, well, I mean, every now and then we might see some shadows out there, or you might hear some strange sounds if you're out there at night, but nobody's actually seen one, or nobody's actually killed one or brought one back. I mean, nobody even goes out there at night.
Very well.
Yeah, you get the impression that, after the dinner hour, they all go back to their homes, and that's where they stay. There's not a lot of people going out and doing anything at night.
There's no irascible drunk that we can apply for more information?
Plenty of drunks, but no, you're not getting their favorite. You could learn all about this tavern, which is what they come to all the time. Their life is here drinking the beer, and that's their life. But and then, you actually, so some might say, like when they're stumbling back home, and Oh, I've seen weird shadows here and there in town, and but they never bothered me.
Interesting.
Yeah, you just get the impression that nobody's gotten a good look or is really seen, or they just think they're stories and they're not really real.
Well, Kafe, I think the plainest course is obviously within the woods.
Yeah. So what time is it right now?
We'll say you guys have spent an hour, talking with people, having your dinner, buying rounds for people. So it just is getting dark, and you're probably at maybe the 7 or 8 p.m. kind of time frame.
Do we turn in and get a full rest and head out at like 3 or 4 in the morning, or do we do a short and head out closer to like midnight?
Short's not going to get me any spells back.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the long rest. Maybe we should turn in early.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, I say we turn in as early as possible if it's 8 right now.
Okay.
We get up at 4, and I guess I'll get my 4 hours and then wake up and just kind of prep spells and stuff, and then wake up Finn at the 4-hour mark so we can head out to the woods.
Okay. Yeah. So
I'll do some prayers.
you guys all take your long break, so you get all your hit points back and you get your spell slots back. And we'll just cruise on into 4 in the morning. And it is still dark out. You feel like you've probably got maybe an hour and a half of darkness left before the sun comes up.
All right, let's head straight for the woods. Maybe work to that clearing, and then maybe further.
All right. So yeah, you guys head out, and you notice as you're going out in town, it is dead quiet. Nobody's out. You don't see any drunks stumbling around. You barely hear any of the animals. They all seem to still be sleeping. It's a pretty just quiet town as you head out the north side. And you get to the little clearing where obviously the kids are playing. And let's go ahead and do perception checks for both of you. All right, so Kafe, you think you might hear something, but it sounds, if it's hard to tell because you're in the woods. You think it's either further north, or as you kind of turn around, you think, well, maybe it's to the east. You're not sure, so you think you either hear something to the north or something to the east in these woods. Which way? What do you want to do?
Let's go north. So I guess deeper.
Okay. And how are you guys doing this? Are you trying to be pretty stealthy?
Yes.
All right.
Stealthy as I can be in armor.
So let's go ahead and roll a stealth roll, just so I can see. Give me a number. So Kafe's doing pretty good. Oh, God. You guys are pretty quiet. Awesome. Okay. Perfect. So how far do you want to head north?
Let's say quarter mile right now.
Okay. So let's say you go another 200 yards, and then both of you give me another perception check. Yeah. Okay, Finn, now you actually hear it too. And you think if you move off to the east, you think you hear something. You think you hear voices, but you're not recognizing like a language. It's just you're not quite sure, but you're pretty sure you hear voices off to the east of you, and not too far. Maybe a couple hundred yards.
Communicate that with Kafe using our secret squad escort hand signals.
Okay.
Roger.
Let me grab your tokens. let's move you over to our map. Okay, let me set up your vision. Let's see. So you guys have night vision, right? What is it, 60 feet?
Yes.
Okay, set up vision and... All right, are you guys on the map now?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so what you see as you kind of sneak up, and I'm going to put you hiding. This is a big tree here. You guys are kind of hiding by this tree. And you see some creatures that are definitely bipedal. They're humanoid. You kind of get the sense of like a little bit of a frog face to them. So they have big ears, big eyes, big mouth. They stand probably 5'6", 5'7". And they seem to be chanting around what you see is like a yellow sphere. And it's a pretty big sphere. It's probably 10 feet at its tallest, maybe even 12 feet at its tallest. And it's giving off a soft glow of yellow ambient light around it. 3 of them look to be the same, wearing basically leathers and seem to have spears with them. And then another one seems to have some type of robes on, and looks a little different. He was wearing some different accoutrements and is chanting some language that you don't recognize. And there's 4 stone pillars, piled stone, that they're all standing in front of and chanting. And the globe thing is pulsing as they're chanting. And I'm going to go ahead and bring up the turn tracker so you guys can go ahead and roll initiative. They have not seen you yet. You were in the dark, and they have not seen that you've snuck up on them. All right. And let me grab out what I need. I need that. And I need...
Are we close enough to understand them, or is there any role we can make to kind of ID them?
Yeah, you can try to see if you recognize what they are. So you can roll a... that would be a history check, I believe.
Nice. We went to the same school.
Exactly.
Yeah,
met
you
Kafe
think
for
these
boys.
are... You've heard of something like this before. You think they're called boglings. And normally they would be found in marshland. They're very kind of aquatic type creature, webbed feet, webbed hands. Similar to like goblins and stuff, but they're definitely live in marshes and such. And you think the other one, the way he's dressed and the way he has stuff, is probably a shaman of some sort. But you've never fought him or faced him, so you're not really sure capability wise.
Yeah, the new divine sense. The way I read this, it does not say anything about evil. But I'm going to do it anyway, just as long as we're undiscovered at this point and nothing's happened, just to be sure. So if they're fiend or undead within 60 feet, I'll sense it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead and put the text in the chat because I thought it was something else too. I thought there was 4 things.
That's celestial, I think. Hold on, celestial, fiend, or undead. I'm just kind of assuming there's no celestial involved with this.
No, you are not picking up any of those type of creatures near you.
I'll look at Kafe Black.
I don't know. What do you think? What's our? These are obviously the boogeymen, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well,
Do they have 4 toes?
Pretty dark, but you think so.
Pig stealers. And what is that?
Should we talk to them? Is pig theft justifiable for us to go in there?
And cattle.
Well, that's hanging a fence right there.
I could cast comprehend languages as a ritual. I wonder if that, and they're busy doing a ritual around this glowing orb thing, right?
Yeah, they are all concentrating and repeating what you think the shaman is saying. So the shaman is obviously repeating some type of ritual, and then they mimic it or they echo it and are following an order.
Well, I think I'm assuming the paladin's good as well, right?
Yes.
All right, because I'm lawful good. I think I don't want to surprise attack them, so maybe we interrupt their ritual, and if they attack us, then it's on, so to speak.
I've got myself down as chaotic good, so I could probably be talked into surprise attack, but I agree. I mean, I think if anything, we should maybe just chase them off, make sure they know they're not welcome here, and if they're under control by whatever that yellow sphere is, then we put that thing down.
I'm in agreement with that. The other thing, I can just open up with a sleep and see if
I like that.
And see what remaining they do.
I think that's a great idea.
All right, then that's what I'll do.
All right, yeah, you guys are going to get to go first before you get a free turn, so you can do anything you want before we hit initiative.
I meant to copy it, but that's, I guess, the thing. So 90 feet.
Okay.
So that was 21. Let me see. If I click on it, how do I get the description to come up?
The red dot, won't that pop it up?
Usually.
Turn it to spell card instead of attack, I think.
That might be it. Looking for the spell card thing. Where's that?
Yeah, I don't know what that is either.
I'll just look it up. I can just bring it up in the compendium. All right, so roll 5d8, which I assume that's what that thing did and gave us the 23. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep.
Yeah, the first one's a 21.
Tell us how many hit points of creatures the spell can affect. Creatures within 20 feet of a point you choose. So you would choose a point.
Right in the middle, I assume, on the globe.
And yeah, that'd be 15 feet, would reach to any of those that are chanting.
God, that is an awesome spell.
All right, and then back over to the compendium. Oh, where'd it go? What else do we do? Okay, so starting with the creature that has the lowest current hit points, each creature affected by this spell falls unconscious until the spell ends. The sleeper takes damage or someone uses an action to shake or slap the sleeper awake. Okay, so let's see. Each one of these. So you're going to get with a 23. 2 are going to fall asleep.
Well, that should mess with their ritual. Bob and Steve just stop.
See if I have a good sleep icon here. I guess I'll just use the unconscious one. All right, so these 2 fall asleep. And the shaman, well, actually, Logan, you get to do something now. If you wanted to. If not, the shaman's going to do something.
No, I'm going to hold, see what the shaman does.
And describe to us what this sleep spell looks like, Kafe, because it's the first time we're seeing it.
He just does some gestures with his hand, some verbal.
Okay.
Then they just, I guess,
Yeah,
fall.
they just kind of slump over. And the shaman recognizes kind of what's going on. I'm going to have him gesture to the remaining creature, and he says something in a language you still don't understand. And that creature is going to stop chanting. It looks like he's going to charge forward after you guys. And the shaman he's going to cast a spell. All right, actually, we're going to go into the turn order. That's what we'll do. So 2 are down. 1 looks like he's about to come after you. The shaman looks like he's preparing a spell, and we're at the top of our turn order. So Kafe is up.
All right, I will. So I see that they're charging me, and I will take that as an aggressive action. And I will move forward.
Oh, how long does that
Firebolt.
sleep last? Just so I know.
1 minute.
So 10 rounds. Okay, let me put that in. Go ahead, continue.
So, and then I will firebolt the shaman. Does a range 15 hit him?
It does not. It misses.
And I will enter Blade Song.
Okay. That's another one then. That one's 10 also.
Yep.
All right. So the shaman casts a spell. You see the globe is pulsing, but he stops what he was saying and he starts using some other words. You can tell they're different words. And he casts a spiritual weapon. And so a weapon appears near you, Kafe. But then rolls a 7 and misses you when it tries to hit you. So let me get a spear token. And then he says in yeah, that looks fine. There we go. So there's a floating spear attacking you.
Eek.
But it misses on its first shot. And this... he's mentioning to this bogling and he's saying something to him. He's giving him orders. You guys don't know what he's doing. And that is his action for now. So, Finn, you are up.
I double move.
Yeah, dash would be double your move.
I can do 60, I think.
Yep.
That's it. That's an action for me, so I can't do anything else.
Okay. So the bogling is up. And this bogling runs over 5, 10, 15, and he kicks this bogling, which will wake him up. The shaman knew what you were doing. And then he 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. The movement is the kick, so that'll be it. And this guy's just getting up from prone, so only has half of his movement, which will only allow him to move a couple squares. And that will be their turn. One is still sleeping. Kafe, you're up.
Okay. I will engage the 2 that have moved forward. All right. When I get right there, I will attack the one south of me first. Oops.
Okay.
And a 12.
Yeah, one is a hit.
Ooh, 10 piercing.
Oh yeah. And they have that. Yeah, you nearly run him through. Nearly a death blow. But he just has a little bit left in him. Oh. He was not ready for that. Okay, so yeah, he is sorely hurt. But is still going. Nearly killed him with that blow.
Nice.
Okay, so that puts Sleep at 9. And the Blade Song at 9. And moves us through those turns. We get to the Shaman. The shaman's going to back up to here, and he casts another spell.